Conservative activist Charlie Kirk just had his life taken at Utah Valley University campus. Charlie Kirk, the conservative political activist and co-founder of Turning Point USA, was killed after being shot at an event at Utah Valley University. President Donald Trump confirmed Charlie Kirk's death on social media. The suspect and perpetrator is not in custody, according to a spokesperson from the university. Despite the school saying earlier that the police had somebody in custody, they in fact do not. Now, this is the point that I'm going to say, I do not give a fuck what your politics are. I do not give a fuck if you're right, if you're left, if you're somewhere in the middle like the majority of Americans. Taking somebody's life is never okay. What makes our country so beautiful is the fact that it is so diverse. You don't get to go around just taking people's lives because you don't agree with their opinion, their thoughts, their feelings, or their political alignment. And anybody that is celebrating what happened to him, remember this. Remember that he had a wife and children. Basic humanity, basic values, and basic morals is what is lacking, not just in the United States, but in the world. The fact that any mofo out here can think that because they don't like somebody, that they have the right to take their life is absolutely atrocious. And this type of thing is exactly what makes America the laughingstock of the world. And anybody who celebrates this and is happy about this, shame on you. Because when you value no life, you do not value any life. And you cannot value life over here, but not value life over there. I have talked about this extensively, especially just single-handedly related to school violence incidents that happened in the United States. Did you know that the first documented school incident happened in 1840? Oh yeah, I've showed it. We had almost 500 of them from 1840 all the way to 1900. 1900 to the year 2000. 2000 to now 2025. That is 185 years the United States of America has had mass violence in schools only. And this is a perfect and prime example of it doesn't matter if you agreed with him, if you liked him, if you agreed or aligned with his politics, his thoughts, his critiques, his opinions, his feelings, his reactions, or his commentary. If you are happy and you celebrate this kind of thing, then you are the problem. You are not just a part of the problem, you are the problem. And even though I do want to say full-heartedly and wholeheartedly condolences to his wife and his kids who now have to spend the rest of their life without their husband and their father. This is just a reminder that what I saw as a reaction to this and people being happy for this, not only is the reason why I lost faith in humanity so long ago, but you are the reason why our future generations are going to lose hope in humanity. Because nothing ever changes if nothing ever changes. So those of you that are celebrating, for those of you that are happy, I hope you fucking sit with that.
This is such bullshit! I've never been so pissed in my whole life! And this murder Charlie Kirk right here in Utah! I'm so freaking pissed right now! This is bullshit! I just saw blood squirting out of his neck! I love that guy! He would have been our next president! I am so pissed right now! Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it! Use your freaking words as they're talking to you people! Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving down a Provo right now! I'm so pissed! Damn it!
Perfect example right here of people making jokes about Charlie Kirk passing away. People mocking the fact that people have the right to religion, they have the right to pray, they have the right to believe in whatever God they believe in. People mocking, laughing, saying things like, we all need to send prayers that the blank gets away free. Again, and it's always people that look like this that make fun of the situation. Now, I'm still waiting on Candace Owens Of course, this is the only thing that she has posted that she cannot process this. But Barack Obama, we don't know just yet what motivated the person who took the life of Charlie Kirk. But that kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. Also, this person was reported and you were also taken off of my platform because you're not going to leave comments that are nasty like this. I don't want to know you, and you do not have the privilege of being on my platforms anymore. If that is how you are going to talk about other people, like them or not, is not even the point. Consequences also, his wife can suck eggs because she had a child with someone hateful. His son is truly better off without him and will eventually figure out why someone would want to take his life. You know what I got to say to you, prick? Fuck all the way the fuck off. Fuck off. I wasn't even a fucking fan of Charlie Kirk. But it doesn't go unnoticed that all of the people mocking and making fun of the situation all look like they want everybody else to walk on eggshells around them. They want to be able to do whatever the hell they want. They want the treatment of their pronouns, being respected and them being given every single privilege and luxury. But yet they don't even value anybody's life. But yet they think they're superior to everybody. When really the fact is most Americans are somewhere in the middle relating to politics. There's a lot of people that lean conservative that have some very liberal views, and there's some people that are very liberal that have some more conservative type views. Most people are not extreme right or extreme left. The only people that are the people that are in politics. But if you're going to be a hateful piece of shit, then you know what? We're just going to label you what you are. You're just a fucking piece of shit. And not only does hate not have a place in democracy, but pieces of shit can fuck off. If you don't like democracy, there should be one thing that is universal across the board, is that it doesn't matter who it is. If it was somebody famous, if it was a politician, if it was a political activist, if it was a priest, if it was a teacher, if it was you, your family. This type of thing has been a problem for over 185 years in the United States of America, and it needs to stop because, like I've always said, nothing changes if nothing ever fucking changes. So you guys can sit here and complain and do all this crap for likes and clicks and views and trying to go viral with your, I hope the guy gets away. And the people on the right can try to turn him into a martyr. But the reality is if this can happen to Charlie Kirk, it can happen to anybody. And not only do I pray for his wife and his kids, but I certainly pray that you never have this happen to you or anybody you know or love. And I really pray that it's not your spouse, your father, or your child in 15 or 30 or 40 years that this does happen to. Until then, fuck all the way the fuck off and kick rocks. Okay? Bye! The Federal Bureau of Investigation released these still frames of the CCTV footage of the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk. I don't give a fuck what my vocabulary was. I'm very confident in the fact that this is the person that took the life of Charlie Kirk because the FBI does not release information like this unless they are very certain they have CCTV footage along with other evidence pointing that this is the person. They also don't offer $100,000 rewards for just any person of interest. They not only located the weapon, they have DNA, a shoe print, and an entire palm print. By now, they probably already have the results back of the DNA. I don't know if people are aware of this, but you can get a paternity DNA test done and have it fast-tracked within 24 hours. If you don't think that the FBI has that kind of power and that kind of ability, especially with federal and state crime labs, then you really shouldn't be in true crime. And here we see that the profile is absolutely correct. This looks like a between 18 and 30-year-old white male. Not only is that typical, that is so fucking cliche. And for the people who are pulling quotes out of context from Charlie Kirk or any of his debates and using that as a justification for a monster doing what they did, shame on you. It doesn't matter if somebody lives by the sword and dies by the sword. It does not justify another person taking the deliberate and evil action of taking somebody's life the way that Charlie Kirk's life was taken. So not only is there a $100,000 reward leading to information to identify and capture this person, you can guarantee that the FBI has a lot more information that you are not privy to. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using ancestral and family DNA matches to find this person. And I also wouldn't be surprised if this person does not have an extensive rap sheet in his history. I also wouldn't be surprised if this person's fingerprints and DNA are not in the CODIS system. And if you don't know off the very top of your head what the CODIS system is, then you shouldn't be in true crime either. The FBI know a lot more information than what they are choosing to release to the public at this time. But I can guarantee they have a lot more footage of this person and what they did than what the world is privy to at this time. The internet is going to do its thing. This person is going to be identified and this person is going to be captured. It also isn't going to take long for FBI agents to identify what type of shoes he was wearing with the footprint. The internet has already identified the shirt that he's wearing. But if anybody has any information, you can call this tip line down below, and there is a $100,000 reward for information, especially leading to the identity and the capture of this individual. Not only is today September 11th, it's a very traumatic day for me. I spent the entire summer in New York City, in the Bronx, with my lifelong best friend, her brother, and her mother. And I came home just a week and a half before 9/11 happened, where I captured this image on a film camera. And at 6:10 a.m. this morning, we got word in my town that a 44-year-old father tried to take the life of 3 of his children, successfully ending the life of his 17-year-old and putting his 13 and 12-year-old in critical condition where they had to be hospitalized and rushed by helicopter to Detroit, where we still haven't got word if either of them have survived or if they're still in critical condition or stabilized. With all of the hatred, with all of the violence, with all of the vitriol that is happening, not just here in the United States of America, but all around the world. I really wouldn't be surprised if they start slamming people federally with capital punishment. I am not very political, and I believe most politicians at a certain level up are all corrupt. But guess what? Even corrupt people, even this person, even criminals have civil and constitutional rights. But I'm just a person. I don't work in law enforcement. I don't work as a lawyer. I don't work as a judge, and I don't work in the court system. So it's not my job to uphold anybody's civil or constitutional rights, nor the legal practice in the legal standard in the legal criminal justice system to which judges and lawyers have to uphold the due process. I don't have to uphold anybody else's due process. They do. I can say what I want. I can say what I think. I can say what I feel. I can say that this person is an absolute piece of fucking trash. There are addicts. There are alcoholics. There are homeless people. There are people that live in poverty all throughout the United States of America. And guess what? None of them take the lives of other people. And for those of you that saying that this is not political, Charlie Kirk was a political commentator. He was a political activist. He was at a political event that he was holding. If you don't think that that is political, then Lord help you. But it also doesn't go without saying that a coward like this couldn't prove him wrong, because he didn't have the balls like a real man to go down there and actually debate Charlie Kirk. He had to take the cop-out pussy way. He had to utilize a firearm to do it for him. And not only did he do it in front of his wife, his babies, in front of 3,000 plus people that were in attendance, but on a national and global social media stage. I really pray that this never happens to you or anybody that you know or love. Because it doesn't matter if this was any other Democratic or very leftist political activist that this happened to, it would be the same exact reaction. Nobody should have this happen to them. This wasn't God's doing. And no matter what series or combination of 178,000 English words that Charlie Kirk strung together and ever said in a debate. It does not justify, condone, reason, and if or but away this person doing the act of what they did. It does not excuse or justify any of it, because God didn't do this. The person responsible did it. A coward, a pussy, a man that doesn't even have the conviction of his own faith, of his own morals, of his own principles and values to stand up and own what he did. He ran from the scene like a little bitch. And for all of those laughing and chuckling and cheering that, oh, the right is going to turn him into a martyr, he is a martyr. The definition of martyr is anybody that suffers or dies for a principle, for a cause, for their religious belief, that suffers or dies for their values and their morals, that suffers and dies because they refuse to renounce their religious beliefs, their values, or their morals. And that is not only the epitome of Charlie Kirk's entire life and career as a political activist, that is going to be his legacy, whether anybody likes it or not. But mark my words, they are going to find this person, and one day we're going to have the entire CCTV footage, clips from all of these garages and buildings. But until then, somebody is going to turn in his little punk ass, because $100,000 is worth more than this man's entire life now. The FBI do not put a bounty on anybody's head if they're just a person of interest. They know more than what they are saying. And I don't care if people agree that insane asylums and permanent psychiatric residential locked facilities should come back, or that death penalty in all states should come back. I don't care if anybody believes that we should have tighter and more strict gun control laws federally, and that those should make a comeback. There is one thing that I stand 100% firm on from every single corner of my heart, from the very depths of my soul, to every cell and every breath that is in my body. You have to be a disgusting, evil, depraved, fucked up human being to pull the trigger and do what this person allegedly did. Because most human beings on planet Earth, all 8 billion of us across 195 countries, do not have the ability to harm another human this way. A lot of people don't have this in them to even do it in self-defense. To pull a trigger and to do what we all watched live happen to Charlie Kirk, you are fucked up. Because most people are good and decent human beings that are just trying to get by in life and don't want to hurt anybody else and are incapable of hurting anybody else. And real empaths, we would rather cut off our own arm than ever harm another human being, even if we don't align with them politically, religiously, or otherwise. So there's that. Bye. President Donald Trump just announced that the suspected shooter of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk is in custody. Senior law enforcement officials later told NBC News that they have identified the suspect as Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old from Utah. Officials told NBC that the suspect has been turned in to police by a family member who saw photos that were shared by the FBI. The press conference on this is about to happen right now, so I'm going to go watch that. You know it's fucked up times in the United States of America when you wake up and you open up your favorite social media app and you see even more people celebrating, cheering, hooting and hollering over the death of Charlie Kirk. And I better not go to anybody's profile that has been exposed for the evil piece of shit that you are, who are doing those things, over here screaming free Palestine as well. Because if you are going to sit here and not condone the mass genocide and violence against innocent women and children and the starving of people and the endless war machine, but you're going to sit here and celebrate somebody who would do that to Charlie Kirk's wife and 2 children, well, that kind of goes over like a lead balloon. You're either for violence or you're not, right? Get your fucking shit together. It is not ironic anymore. It is not a coincidence. And the same people that are over here saying that murder and genocide is wrong, duh.
Duh. Like, we all know that. We should all be on that same page. Are the same people who are justifying the murder of babies. Just saying. You know, to me, if you're going to have any kind of conviction, if you're going to have any morals, any ethics, any values, if you're going to have anything that you stand by, at least make sure that you're even across the board. Make sure that what applies here, that you're saying and screaming and shouting over here, applies over here too. Because you can't just pick and choose because it's convenient for you. Pick and choose because you decide you don't fucking like somebody. Pick and choose because this person's politics or their thoughts, feelings, and opinions, emotions don't align with yours. I've said it one time, I will say it 1,000 times. It does not matter how many of the 178,000 English words that Charlie Kirk strung together, or how anybody is taking what he said during a debate out of context and cherry picking itty bitty clips and stringing them together to paint a narrative. It does not matter. Does not matter. Charlie Kirk is not an annihilator. Charlie Kirk didn't take the lives of other people. It doesn't matter if somebody felt or thought that he was transphobic, homophobic, racist. Before you slander, libel, or defame anybody, deceased or alive, if you are going to call them those kinds of things, you better come 100% ready to back that up. I mean, straight up video. Unedited, undoctored, not AI, of this person being any of those three things. And you know what I'm still going to say, even if I see that, even if I hear somebody straight up say, yes, I am that. Yes, this is how I feel against this race. This is how I feel against this sexual orientation. This is how I feel against this community. It still does not justify or condone another person doing what they did to him. That is the principle. That is the difference. If this was Lily Tino, and nobody likes Lily Tino, I would still feel the same exact way. The fact is, this is not a politician. This is not a congressman. This is not a senator. This is not a governor. This is not the president. This is not somebody who was a politician. That fact is what is unsettling to everybody, because if it can happen to Charlie Kirk, it can happen to anybody. And it does not justify, reason, or condone a person doing what they did to him. Because now, it's the same thing I've always said about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Yeah, her mom might have not have been a perfect mom. She might have been a piece of shit. But do you know who else is a piece of shit, self-admitted? Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Yeah, not only has she lied her entire life and still continues to lie now, just like her mom. She drives around recklessly driving 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, going to fucking Austin, Texas. Doesn't have her baby strapped in the backseat. Going to see the Easter Bunny, isn't buckled, doesn't have the baby buckled appropriately. Not only going 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, which is child endangerment and reckless driving, nonetheless, doing 85 in a 65 zone, doing 78 in a 70 zone. But the fact is, she is a convicted murderer. You know who was not? Dee Dee Blanchard was not. The person that decided to take the life of Charlie Kirk now is the worst version of themselves and will never be anything other than a killer. A life taker, a murderer, somebody who committed homicide. And as much as everybody either did or did not like Charlie Kirk, he didn't take people's lives. The one thing that has hit me the hardest and has caused me the greatest deal of anxiety is realizing that people just fucking suck. Good people make bad decisions. Bad people make good decisions. But people who choose to take lives are just straight up evil. This is not, I stole a package off of somebody's porch. I stole a pack of gum from the corner store. This is not, I stole my friend's pencil or a simple mistake. You are talking about the ending, the deliberate action and choice of ending somebody's life. But the realization that people who act like they have convictions, act like they have values and morals, really truly do not at all. They're just so good at coming to the internet and convincing everybody that they do. You can be anti-war. You can be free Palestine. You can say that genocide is wrong. War is wrong. That politicians starving people out is wrong. The harming of innocent women and children is wrong. The person that took the life of Charlie Kirk, what did they just do to his wife and 2 children? For somebody to be so blinded by hatred is cowardice. Charlie Kirk spent years opening himself up to debating anybody. His tent literally says, prove me wrong. Anybody could go down there and debate him, wait in line, ask questions. But instead, people are celebrating the fact that a person took it upon themselves to hide behind a weapon, to not even stand on their moral ground, their ethics, their faith, their convictions, their beliefs, their morals, ethics, and values, and to actually face Charlie Kirk one-on-one and debate him and prove him wrong. They took the pussy-ass way out and ran like a little bitch, after having to utilize a weapon to do it for them. The act of taking his life proved him wrong. It doesn't matter if people think this is the America Charlie Kirk wanted and created. No, this is not the America that anybody wanted or created. That's the whole point of political activists. That's the whole point of people talking about this or that, whether it be politics or religion or social issues, social welfare issues. Because this is not the America that anybody wants, that anybody made. My whole entire core was just rocked by all of these events that have been happening. But the thing that has rocked me the most is the fact that people are over here saying that murder is wrong and then justifying it when it comes to an unwanted pregnancy. That people are over here saying that genocide and war is wrong, but they're over here celebrating the assassination of a man. People are over here saying that their values, morals, and beliefs doesn't matter if it aligns with Charlie Kirk's or not. It's okay and justifies what happened to him because they don't like him. That puts everybody at risk, no matter if you're political or not, no matter who you are. Because that rhetoric puts it in the minds of people for sensationalism, for misinformation, to go viral. The next person that just simply doesn't like you or doesn't agree with you has the right to take your life. And that is in every capacity, to the very foundation, what is wrong. You don't have to have sympathy, you don't have to have compassion or empathy for what happened to Charlie Kirk. But you should not justify or condone it, nor should you be celebrating and cheering it. If that's you, you need to take a very hard look in the fucking mirror. Because there's not only something wrong with you here, there's something wrong with you here. And the fact that something so viral and international would make people do that, even for the attention, for the clout, for the clicks, the views. Good luck, because now you're going to be exposed for the douchebag that you are. What has this country come to? Sit and think about that.
22-year-old Tyler Robinson was apprehended last night, 10 p.m. Utah time, by his own father, Washington County Sheriff Mike Robinson, and their minister. It has been 100% confirmed that he is the assassin of Charlie Kirk and that his father and minister got a confession out of him. He was apprehended last night, and just like I said, he does not have a criminal history. He was not in the CODIS system. Now, the social media bots are going to be in full force, but so are the propagandists. You are going to see a trove of new photographs and information coming out. Be very careful of what you're reading, consuming, and believing. You're also going to see piece of shits like Rachel Hurley over on Facebook. Doesn't look like a woke family to me. He wasn't trans. He wasn't an immigrant. He wasn't a leftist. He wasn't a sniper. Are you sure about that? He wasn't Israeli. He wasn't Mossad. He was a 22-year-old white kid that was a sheriff's son. Yeah, but he's still a piece of shit. And now he's a killer. Same exact woman who posted this. The noose that brought you the party that condemns political violence. I hope she does know that it's the Democratic Party that created the Ku Klux Klan. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to look up Southern Democrats, the Whig Party, the Revolutionary War, and what happened all the way up to our Civil War. And the organization, the political affiliation that created the Ku Klux Klan. Meanwhile, she's trying to incite even more political violence with posts like these. When there's one fact and one truth, this is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. He confessed. He did it. He is in custody and he's being charged. Now she's trying to say things like turning in your own son wasn't good enough for these people. What? People in the comments section saying, good boy. One user asks, why though? And the other person says, because, to further the cause through martyrdom. To further their cause. That right there tells you. Because the bullet engraved, hey fascist, wasn't enough. It doesn't matter if Tyler was playing conservative and was going as somebody on Donald Trump's shoulders for Halloween. Clearly, this man did not know his son and his son's true political affiliation. And whether or not you like or dislike Candace Owens, she had the nerve to say this. Who called the hit on Charlie? We need answers. What do you think the FBI, the Department of Justice, has been doing for the last 37 hours?
I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to save Charles's life, and the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family for all their work in these terrible days to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well.
Then tries to also push this entire thing with, correct, more people were involved and we need to know whom. A lot of school shootings are related to Discord chats, so there is an underground emergent and we need to know who the directors of it are. Okay, that doesn't mean anybody else participated. He could have just become very extremist and radicalized with his beliefs just through simply talking about political or social issues with other people on Discord. But the fact that Discord is leading to so many mass violence events, extremism, and radicalization, we just watched the press conference. We know what was said. They have not found any evidence that anybody else had anything to do with this. And this 22-year-old young man confessed to his father and to his minister, of which both held him until authorities came and apprehended him. So this is not very surprising. And it's not surprising how he had access to such a weapon. But access doesn't give you the authority to abuse or misuse. And there's something about him that is very eerily similar to Brian Koberger. Incels. They are both incels. They look like the type of people that couldn't get a woman to look in their direction. Never got laid. Socially awkward and isolated. And became extremist and radicalized. That's exactly what the profile said from the very moment that Charlie Kirk passed away. And it wasn't just the way that he passed away that told us that. It was where and when. A person that commits this kind of act of violence typically don't have a huge criminal history, if one at all. That's why I had already suspected this person was not in the CODIS system. Like I said, he ran from the scene like a little bitch. He didn't even watch the aftermath of what he did. That's how much of a coward this person is. And he does fit the typical description. Young, white, male, incel. So they can try to turn this into propaganda. The people on the left, the people on the right, the people that knew Charlie Kirk. The fact is, this is the very evil, planned, deliberate action of one person. This person, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. And he is going to have to not only face God, he's going to have to face the court of law for his actions, his choices, his behavior. And if he thought he was never going to get laid, well, the only way he's going to get laid now is in prison. Don't drop the soap.
But it's also understandable that people can gain joy from this because of the type of person he is and the type of things he say.
I will never understand how anyone can feel joy about shooting another innocent human. Where is the joy in that? We have one life to live. And as Christians, we believe we have an eternal life. But many of you aren't. If you're not a Christian and you think this is your only life, why would you gain joy out of someone's life being shot? I can't deal with people who think he should die.
The man that was seen cheering moments after Charlie Kirk lost his life has come out and given a public statement on his social media. He said, "Losing Charlie Kirk," it's with an I, but "is heavy and we are still mourning. Trust that I'll be explaining myself very soon, but every lie about me brings me one step closer to becoming very dead and at the hands of the mob. Should I die for hate or entertainment? Truth will satisfy neither appetite. I'm a father and I feel the weight of Charlie's loss to his family. I stand for my fallen brother. We are all unequal in risk at this moment, so if I address my action, it will be after some time. I didn't wish to have my face everywhere. I'm terrified for my family and sad for Charlie's too. I cannot bear both. Please pray for Charlie's family." Right from the beginning, he is absolutely lying. This guy was ecstatic. While the entire crowd was cheering, he was waiting there for this to happen. I mean, the entire crowd was cheering, and there he is, just standing there. And then as soon as it happens, he looks back up in the direction where the shot came from, where there was a man seen running off the building. And he seems to be joking, saying, "I drew attention so the security team could escape. It was dumb. I don't regret it." Somebody says he will be interrogated, and he says, "Are you not entertained? Will you shout crucifix?" It seems like he's actively reveling in this. Here's another troll. "My friends come first. I stood for Charlie Kirk. I'll always push with my brother." I don't know why he always misspells words.
Bitch, I found the archive. I found the motherfucking archive. So, all right. This is obviously an archive. It's an archive website, and Amazon is the one who uploaded it to this. This is the book that everyone is talking about, or that people are talking about. It's written by Anastasia J. Casey, and it was indeed, if I scroll down, published September 9th, and only one person bought it, and his name is Dennis Williams, and I would like to see what the hell is in this book, so if anyone knows how to find this guy, please tell me. Hold on. Now, if we copy this link up here, hold on. Copy, we go to a tab. This is the official website of Amazon already. I'm gonna backspace, copy, paste, and enter. It's not on there anymore. Now, Anastasia Casey, you may be wondering who this woman is. Hold on, let me flip the camera. You may be wondering who this person is. She's a woman. She lives in Arkansas, and she is an interior designer. I already looked her up. Do you want to tell me what the frick an interior designer is doing writing a book about Charlie Kirk and publishing it literally a day before he got shot? I don't even think she knows that this book is published under her name. So, I went ahead and found her social media, and I messaged her. Hopefully she answers me back. So, I'll keep you guys updated on that. Yikes.
Fired from my fucking job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my fucking job. I was just fired from my fucking job. Now I have nothing but this. I have nothing but this website. I have nothing I have nothing! I have nothing anymore! I have nothing anymore! I have nothing anymore! I have nothing anymore! Ah! 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 No!
Concerned men with cherry biome Canadiable inti
Fuck!
cherry.
Fuck!
Stein
Fuck!
Concerned men where is cherry? Incrangen men where is cherry?
Oh my god.
People all over the United States and some internationally have not only lost their jobs, but their businesses are being affected. A lot of businesses and companies are not only letting their employees go, but they are losing brand deals, campaigns, sponsorships, advertisers, and marketing opportunities, all because of inappropriate videos, tweets that some of their employees have done online in regards to Charlie Kirk's assassination. That outcry is not just a bad business review. It is suicide for any business that does not take that seriously and let the employee go. As everybody knows, Candace Owens is personal friends with Charlie Kirk. She says that Charlie Kirk was fighting with some very powerful billionaires that he took money from over things that he was discussing. The pressure on him was immense over the last 2 weeks. The truth will be revealed. The messages will be leaked, and the moment he built will rise up. But let me backtrack for just a moment. We know what Stephen King had posted on X. He has since deleted the tweet and retracted, and he has issued a formal apology. Stephen King's original tweet said that he advocated for stoning gays to death. Just saying. Ted Cruz has tweeted this: I appreciate that Stephen King deleted the false tweet about Charlie Kirk, and he apologized. All of us, on both sides of the aisle, should treat each other with respect and decency, even if we disagree on politics. Charlie did that every day, and I admired him for it. Stephen King has apologized more than once. He said, I was wrong, and I apologize. I have deleted the post. To which I said, like Charlie Kirk or not, Stephen King issued an apology. Charlie Kirk would have accepted that apology and granted forgiveness. Luke 17:3-4 is the divine example of God's demand to forgive when one asks for forgiveness. Romans 12:19 also states, do not take revenge. But there are still people out here calling for the cancellation of Stephen King. Belfast Books has announced that they are removing all of Stephen King's books from their website, and people are calling for Barnes & Noble to do the same. Now, like Candace Owens or not, she said this also: no show today because I'm feeling deeply angry. It's personal. I intend to destroy every lie, so be sure to peddle them very carefully. I know that she was friends with Charlie Kirk. She had worked with Charlie Kirk in the past, but sometimes people want to push conspiracy theories and plant those seeds instead of facing the truth. And we don't know until we know. But any kind of speculative seed planting, insinuating something bigger than what really happened, is really going on behind the scenes. Is that doing God's will? Is that obeying God? Or is that just trying to sensationalize the assassination of Charlie Kirk? Because at that point, for your own website, for content on your YouTube channel, that's no different than what mainstream media does every single day. That's also null and void of any justice. Seeing Tyler Robinson to his trial and see him be held accountable, that's justice. Because he is not only confessed, the person that is responsible. Brooke Singman also dropped this exclusive today. Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson lived with his transgender partner, sources tell her. The individual, who is male, transitioning into a female, is fully cooperating with the FBI. Sources tell her that the FBI had texts and other communications between Robinson and the individual that helped FBI authorities solidify that Robinson was indeed the shooter. She then proceeds to go on and talk about how Charlie Kirk happened to be talking about transgender issues relating to violence and gun violence when he was shot. And I would take everything with a grain of salt because this is a person that's affiliated with Fox News Digital. So you can do with that what you will. But that is precisely why I tell everybody to be very careful where you're getting your information from. In fact, times like these, it's best to disengage and disassociate with mainstream media or social media at all. Even Amber Heard's former narcissistic best friend, Eve Barlow, said this: shocked that people are shocked that leftists are joyfully celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. But then I have to remind myself that I got a sneak peek preview because I'm a Jew. A Jew, yes, but she is decades removed from the genocide of the Holocaust. The same exact Holocaust that my grandfather's oldest brother, a French American, died in 1945 in the Battle of the Bulge, fighting against, who lost his life fighting against Nazis because America believes in liberty, in liberating the Jewish concentration camps, because they believed in liberating Germany, Poland, Austria, France from a tyrannical dictator, Adolf Hitler. My grandfather's brothers gave their life for basic human rights of others in a country that was not theirs. And it wasn't only but a few years later that my grandfather's other brother, a first-class sergeant, died in the Korean War in Korea at the Battle of Baldy Ridge, fighting for the basic liberty, freedom, and the basic human rights of Koreans. My grandfather was the last of 5 brothers to survive, and 2 of his brothers gave their lives serving their country for the basic liberty and human rights, freedoms of others in other countries. But all Eve Barlow ever does is make it all about her and all about the Jewish. I can see why she and Amber Heard are not friends anymore, because you knew eventually one of them was going to try to be the alpha. So Eve Barlow, she can just piss off. Now let's talk about the very young content creator, Dean Withers. He's a liberal, and he made an entire shtick and niche of being the arch nemesis of Charlie Kirk. He showed up at events, tried to debate him over and over and over again, took a lot of the videos of Charlie Kirk debating other people, used it for content, got a lot of clicks and views based on that. His whole entire thing was being the one and only liberal that really could prove Charlie Kirk wrong. When he found out, he came to the internet and he, of course, condemned any kind of gun violence. And he cried. Then he came to the internet the very next day and explained why he cried. Not only is his major content gone, but Dean Withers really saw himself in Charlie Kirk. He looked up to him. He was an inspiration to him, even if they have political differences. So now, not only is the future completely uncertain for Dean Withers, he is receiving a lot of backlash for crying and being upset. The real reason why he cried is because if it happened to Charlie Kirk, this could easily be him in 10 years' time. This is not just a podcast. This is not just openly debating. He subconsciously saw himself in what happened to Charlie Kirk. And now his entire internet personality that he has built a podcast and his content off of is gone. On top of, it really did touch him that nobody should have to die that way. He really should not be receiving any backlash at all. He's a very young man. And everybody on the internet, young or old, on social media, you either can support Dean Withers or just leave the very young man alone. Now, Tyler Robinson is a depraved psychopath for doing what he did, but so is this person and this person. Talking, debating, sharing hypothetical ideas, thoughts, feelings, opinions, and hypothetical situations does not warrant this. Nothing that Charlie Kirk did or ever said does. And some people disagree that his words radicalized people to what? Love your country to work hard, to follow God's will and be obedient to God? For the people that are far left extremists who are trying to compare him to Hitler, to Mussolini, to Putin, to Stalin, who else? Ivan the Impaler? This was not a congressman or a governor or a senator or a president. This was Charlie Kirk, a man who went around to college campuses trying to open the minds of many young adults. The man who in his debates often tried to find common ground with those young adults. That is nowhere near comparable to a fascist dictator or a fascist regime. What is fascist is assassinating Charlie Kirk the way that he was assassinated, to which compels me to share this. The Torah. What does the Torah say against murder? It explicitly prohibits murder. The fifth commandment, you shall not murder, is a fundamental prohibition against unjustified killing within the Torah. What does the Torah say about forgiveness? The offender's obligation. The person who has wronged another is responsible for seeking forgiveness. This involves sincere regret, an apology, and efforts to repair the damage caused. The offended party's role. The injured party has the right to forgive, but is also obligated to be open to the offender's sincere repentance and apology. Rejecting a truly heartfelt apology is considered an injustice. Now, next, let's look at what the Holy Quran says about murder. When is murder prohibited? Innocent life. The Quran emphasizes the sanctity of innocent life, stating that killing one innocent person is like killing all of humankind. Unjustified violence. The Quran forbids the killing of civilians regardless of their religion, sex, or age, and states that violence is only permitted in self-defense against armed attackers. What does the Quran say explicitly about forgiveness? Divine mercy. Allah is described as the all-forgiving, most merciful, a quality Muslims are encouraged to embody. Human duty. The Quran calls upon believers to forgive those who have wronged them, often linking this to the reward of being forgiven by Allah. For one's own sins, seeking forgiveness requires sincere repentance, which involves remorse, a resolve to change, and sometimes repairing harm done to others. Practicing forgiveness fosters empathy and spiritual growth, preparing believers for the afterlife by purifying their hearts and fostering community harmony. The Holy Bible. What does this book say explicitly about murder? The commandment, you shall not murder, is central, appearing in the 10 Commandments in Exodus and reinforced throughout Scripture. God's authority. Only God has the ultimate authority to take a life, and murder is seen as usurping God's authority. The last person that tried to usurp God's authority fell from heaven and became Satan. Unjustified versus justified killing. The distinction is crucial. Murder is unjust killing, but the Bible allows for justified killing in specific contexts, such as self-defense, lawful warfare, capital punishment for heinous crimes. The underlying motive, intention, and justification determine whether an act is killing or murder. So what does the Holy Bible say about forgiveness? Abundant and unconditional. God's forgiveness for humanity is abundant, unearned, and demonstrated through Jesus' sacrifice, offering redemption and the forgiveness of sins. When God forgives, He removes our transgressions from us as far as the east is from the west. Christians are called to reflect God's compassionate nature by extending forgiveness to others. Jesus taught that our own forgiveness from God is conditional on our willingness to forgive others, as highlighted in Matthew 6:14-15. The Apostle Peter had inquired about the number of times that one should forgive, and Jesus replied that one should forgive not just 7 times, but 70 times 7, or an unlimited number of times. As many times as one asks for forgiveness, it should be granted. When we look at Hinduism, Hinduism fundamentally opposes murder. In Hinduism, you are supposed to practice non-violence and the concept of karma. Killing any living being is seen as a bad deed that will result in negative karmatic consequences, and those consequences will hinder the spiritual journey of the soul. Hinduism has a broader tradition that promotes non-harming thoughts, words, and deeds towards all living creatures. They believe in the eternal soul and that the soul reincarnates after the body dies. Murder prevents the soul from its spiritual journey, and the negative actions create a cycle of suffering on the perpetrator. In Hinduism, it is also encouraged to forgive. Forgiveness is considered a divine quality that spiritually minded people should aspire to. It frees the individual from negative thoughts and emotions, leading to personal bliss and peace. Forgiveness means letting go of anger and resentment, even if one doesn't forget the offense of the wrongdoer's actions. Practicing compassion and forgiveness is seen as a fundamental way to connect with the infinite, fostering a sense of unity with others. Forgiveness is integral to living a dharmatic, mortal, and ethical life, which promotes the well-being for both the individual and the community. Balance with prudence. While forgiveness is encouraged, it is not indiscriminate. It is acceptable to forgive emotionally, but still use intelligence and take necessary countermeasures if the person remains a threat. Not only must one forgive others, but one must also seek forgiveness for wrongs committed through practice, like charity, purification, rituals, and introspection. It also states that the role of God's will is to not seek revenge unnecessarily, which also leads to inner peace. When we look at Buddhism, it says that Buddhists consider murder a severe moral violation, primarily because it contravenes the first precept, which is to abstain from taking life. This prohibition stems from a fundamental practice of compassion for all sentient beings and the recognition of life's value. The act of killing has significant negative karmatic consequences. Murder, premeditated murder, is a serious offense, and even celebrating or encouraging killing carries negative karmatic repercussions. Buddhists also explicitly believe in forgiveness. It says that for Buddhists, forgiveness is fundamentally for the forgiver, a way to free oneself from the pain, anger, and mental poison of holding a grudge. Forgiving cultivates inner peace. It breaks the cycles of hatred. It promotes spiritual growth. In Buddhism, the process of forgiveness, understanding the root of suffering, developing wisdom and compassion. A key insight is that suffering, including resentment, arises from within the mind, not just from the actions of others. Practicing loving kindness, cultivating goodwill towards all beings, including those who have caused harm, is a core aspect of forgiveness. Letting go. The practice involves intentionally choosing to let go of the pain and the desire for retaliation, not by denying the past, but by no longer being defined by it. Forgiveness is an act of caring for your own well-being, not just for a favor to the person who caused the harm. It is not a weakness. Forgiveness demands courage and integrity to face and release painful emotions. The mind's role. The practice involves changing your relationship with your own thoughts and emotions, allowing for a shift in perspective. That shift in perspective is critical to all faiths because you cannot be obedient to God and carry God's will if you allow your own thoughts and feelings to control and dictate you. And sometimes thoughts can control feelings and feelings can control thoughts. So it doesn't matter what faith you may hold or if you hold no faith. The ethics, the values, the morals of not only not killing, but coming to a place where you grant forgiveness to those who ask for it and even sometimes those who do not. That fact and truth is explicit across all faiths. And depending on the circumstances, there are religions that do believe that capital punishment serves as a consequence to committing first-degree premeditated murder in a heinous way. Will Charlie Kirk's assassin be sentenced to the death penalty? We have yet to know. Will they push for it? Yes, absolutely. Nobody knows if Charlie Kirk would have forgiven his assassin for taking his life, especially in front of his wife and children. We don't know if one day his widow may grant forgiveness to his assassin. And we don't know if his assassin will ever truly be remorseful and ask for that forgiveness. But in my heart, in my mind, and in my soul, that's what I hope for. That is my prayer for her heart, for her soul, and for everybody else. To not have the weight, the burden, and the anger to be obedient in their own faith, to find it in them to one day forgive, and that we come to a place collectively where everybody can agree that this is not okay. It's not something to be celebrated. It is not something to cheer for. And doing so is not only deranged and psychopathic. As a person who loves her country, as a person who loves God, as a person who loves her community and loves people, but it is also dangerous. Very dangerous to celebrate. We must collectively agree on the fact that violence, mass violence, needs to end. I pray that his family, his friends, his co-workers, his children, and his wife all see the truth, are wrapped in comfort and solace during this time of grief, but I truly pray are able to spiritually carry out God's will, God's plan, let go of hurt, grief, anger, and one day forgive, not perpetuate more violence and hate and vitriol. That is my prayer for them all. And may Charlie Kirk's soul rest for all of eternity. Amen.
Or my claim is that Mormonism, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is more historically accurate than Protestantism. Prove me wrong.
Well, you're more aggressive than I would be. First of all, I love Mormons. I've said that forever.
How do you want to be remembered?
I mean, if I die?
Everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
I love you all. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Please like and share and smash the subscribe button. God bless you all.